Real quick, I had a request to make a tutorial for respawning AI in Halo 2, so I'm going to show that off real quick. It's kind of complex at first if you're not familiar with the script, but it's really simple. You're just making a sleep loop, and during the sleep loop, everything that's inside the sleep loop is getting executed. So, but yeah, I'll just make a little tutorial showing it off real quick. I made a text document here. I'll link this in the description, kind of explaining everything and giving an example from my map that I'm making. But I'll go ahead and just start from scratch in a separate scenario here. So what we're going to do is we're going to respawn some AI and have a script that continuously respawns AI. But we're going to have it under our control, under our circumstance, under what we want to see. So I have a couple squads here. I think I'm going to want to respawn the drones. I have these really cool, like, ranked drone rankings. I think it was by, I want to say Ruby of Blue made these, or maybe it was a commission for him, but they're really cool. But yeah, we're just going to use these guys as an example. And I'm assuming you already know how to make squads and how squads work. We're going to go over the scripting part of it. There we go. So this is the script that I have right now. This is just a sleep loop example showing off how it works. Basically, when you do a sleep until, it checks for a condition to be true, but it only checks for the last condition or the last expression in the loop, basically. So it's only checking for this to be true. This is the only condition, and it's at the very bottom. And so if this is not true, it will continue to sleep and run this code, everything above that condition, at whatever tick rate you have it set to execute that code at. Right now I have it at 300, which is 10 seconds. So every 10 seconds it will check if the game is safe to save, or in this case, if not safe to save, then it'll execute the code, game not safe. But if it's not true, so if the game is safe to save, then it'll skip this if statement and then go to the sleep check, where, you know, the thing that is causing the script to sleep is this check right here, game safe to save. Well, if it's not safe to save, then it has to be safe to save. So it'll move on and then print game safe to save. Alright, so we're going to load up that test scenario that I have. And so if we activate that script by waking it, wake sleep loop example. And so you'll see at the top there, the sleep time, my HUD's kind of in the way. So if the game is not safe to save, you'll see when that timer counts down, it'll say game not safe, and then loop again. Yeah, so that's the basics of the sleep loop. So knowing how the sleep loop now works, we can take this example and expand upon it and turn it into a respawning AI script. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. And it doesn't matter what type of script. You can make it dormant, you can make it a static. If you're going to call it more than once, I would make it a static. However, if it's respawning, I don't know why you would call it more than once. So for this example, I'll do dormant, but I'm sure you could find a way to make this work with static scripts. And we'll do drone spawner. You know what, actually fuck it, we're gonna make it a static. And what I like to do anytime a new script starts is I like to print it so that when I'm debugging I know what script is active and when it starts. So I'll do print drone spawner active, and we'll do the sleep loop. So sleep until, and you want to have everything, all of your expressions need to be wrapped in a begin statement when you're checking when you're doing a sleep loop, because it'll look for a condition. But if you have multiple expressions, not in a begin statement, it'll think all of them are individual expressions, and it doesn't like that. It only wants one expression. So when you wrap everything in a begin, the begin is the one expression, the one mega expression that executes all these other expressions, basically. That's how it works. I don't know, a button or something, like once you hit a trigger volume. So until it becomes true, it will execute everything above it. But we don't want to just continuously spawn enemies. So we're gonna do an if statement, so that if living count is under 1, then spawn more. Or if there are any drones alive, it'll say can't spawn drones. Now we just need to create a trigger volume. So we're gonna add a trigger volume that if we walk into, then it'll despawn the drones. We'll call this TB drone stopper. This is kind of a dumb name, but it gets the job done. It's basically static void drone spawner. Anytime we call this, it'll start spawning drones. And if there's more drones, if there are any drones alive, it won't spawn them. But if you kill them all, it'll respawn them. And we'll have this going on a, I don't know, we'll do a 5-second timer. So 150, because 30 ticks is 1 second. So 30 times 5 is 150. So every 5 seconds it'll try to spawn drones. And if it can't spawn drones, it'll say it can't spawn drones. If it does spawn drones, then it'll spawn drones. So then we're gonna go ahead and compile, save, and then switch over to tag test. Now our drone spawner should work. So if we just call drone spawner active. And it'll spawn them in. And every 5 seconds it will say can't spawn drones until we kill them all. More because 5 seconds went over and there's 0 alive. Now I respawn them. And then if I want to quit spawning drones, we go and deactivate it with the boolean that we set walking into this trigger volume. Can't spawn drones, drone spawner deactivated. Back in here and just kill them all. And so that was the end of that, but I can reactivate it again by just calling it again. Static scripts are good because you can wake them at any point, basically. Like you can start them and rerun the script over and over a million times where it's dormant. They only run once and then that's it. You can't rerun them. So this is good for if you're gonna have a respawning script active more than one time. But for most intents and purposes, you could just use a dormant and it'll get the same job done. So yeah, I hope this tutorial was helpful. I know these tutorials are kind of long-winded and whatnot. They're just kind of off the cuff. So yeah, if you want to see more tutorials from me, let me know in the comments. Give me a description of what it is you want to see for Halo modding. I'm learning shit as I'm going along too, but I will gladly share what I know if people want to see it. And in fact, I might even make another tutorial later about vehicles, because that was something I was making yesterday. Was working on vehicles and stuff. I'm gonna go get banana bread now. Alright, see you everybody. Stay safe.